just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to an extremely special episode of Bloke in a Bar. I've got the great Karl Stefanovic on the show. How you going, brother?
The OG bloke in a bar. That's me.
The OG.
Hard to shake.
Inspired by you.
First in, last to leave. That's me. My little daughter here, Harper, as well.
Beautiful.
So daddy daycare today.
Yeah.
So you've got us
what
all.
What have we got there? Is that an ice cream set up there? What's that?
It looks like, it looks like something that you'd have, on a night out in Ibiza. Why are you laughing? It's only the people who laugh who know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyway, I'll have that later.
Mate, first of all, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Pleasure.
I really do appreciate it.
Pleasure. What people wouldn't know is that you've helped me out greatly. So I really genuinely appreciate your help and a bit of studio and lots of advice. So, the podcast world has been so, amazing and open and welcoming. And I've been blown away by that because, in many ways TV isn't that.
And getting into podcasting, when, Keshni, my sister, who obviously worked with yourself, when she first floated the idea to me, I was like, if there's a man made for podcasting, it's yourself. What was the catalyst? Because very easy, I assume, for you to go, you've been doing it for 20 years on mainstream TV, maybe longer actually, 24 years, I think. You know what I mean? You're already there. They're all their best. What made you start a podcast?
Well, essentially, I thought it's only a matter of time before I get sacked. At the end of the day, I thought I better do something else before I get sacked. So here we are. Self-preservation. No, I've been wanting to do it for years. I've been a fan of it for years, and I'm trying to rack my brain about what the niche would be, because I greatly admire, guys like yourself and other podcasters out there who have built something from nothing and built a community around them. But what was my niche going to be? And towards the end of last year, I thought, you know what, bugger it. Maybe the fact that I don't have a niche, I'm interested in so many different things, is not going to be something that precludes me from doing it. And then, Nine allowed me to do it, which was a huge thing. I'd been trying for a number of years, and they said, just go for it. And so for me, that opened the gates. And the last thing I wanted to do, was faff around.
Yeah.
I wanted to get it started, and, I wanted to start building something of my own in this world because I find it so invigorating. And I can essentially wake up in the morning and want to do something and do it. And I see all the time, because I've done 25 years of breakfast TV, or that's what it feels like. Actually, it feels like 60. I felt like there's I've got a finger on the pulse of what people, genuinely want to hear more about. And so, being able to dive into something for an hour and a half, or half an hour, or whatever the case may be, across a myriad of topics, but give people more. Because I think people want more, and they want things explained, and they want to have a bit of fun. And, as much as TV is wonderful, I think, the 3 to 5 minute interview, or longer on 60 minutes, 12 to 15 minutes, I think that this is a great addition too. That people can get all that, but in a podcast, they get intimacy, they get to see someone explore a conversation, and, most of all, I get to fucking swear.
So, mate, plenty of that.
I've just got to be careful with that with the legal people.
Mate, what's strange is that because when you get your own little bubble with podcasting, you talk about 3 to 5 minute segments, and I'm like, 3 to 5 minute segment.
Yeah.
To me, that's I feel like I couldn't even say a sentence in that long, but it just shows you. But I'm with you in regards to, I feel like there's a place for both. I feel like there really is a place for both.
There's no question. And let me tell you, doing a 3 minute interview is a craft, and doing it live, or 5 minute, 7 minute interview, it's a craft, because it's not how many questions you've got. It's getting the most out of someone in a short space of time, being able to engage with them and get the audience what they want out of an interview. So that's the challenge, shorter form. But longer form, I think that this will go in addition to all of those things. People say legacy media is dead. It's bullshit.
Yeah, I don't
and Channel 9, look at their schedule this year. They've got, they're about to go tennis, Australian Open Tennis, Winter Olympics, NRL launch, NRL. The NRL season last year was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Was absolutely phenomenal, and not just because the Broncos kicked us. I don't want to stay on it, but
No, we can stay on it as long as you want.
3 of the greatest games I've ever seen.
Oh, easy.
You know, and so I think in addition to what they already have, this is where it sits, and for me to be able to explore all of that stuff, you know, I had great conversations with Madge Maguire before the season started last year, and you know, I found him to be such an open, really beautiful guy. I knew he was going to be hard on them, and you know, he had difficulties before the season started. You know, if I want to explore that, I can do it. Channel 9 aren't going to have a problem with it. And all the other things in my head that I want to talk about. I've got a wacky taste in weird shit.
Okay.
There's no question.
Okay.
And whilst I can do a concise amount of TV, 3.5 hours every day, for me to explore niche things that I like across a myriad of topics, you know, who else in the world likes to talk about underground cities in Egypt that the Egyptian authorities are hiding from everyone? You know, guys who get infiltrated bikie gangs and, you know, KKK in America. And then, you know, to talk to guys that I've known for years, like, you know, Curtis Stone, who's got, you know, an amazing story about how he survived in LA. I mean, these are things that I just love. And I'll get up in the morning and I'll be able to exercise that whim.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Pauline Hanson, first guest, someone that, you know, one of the harder gets in regards to a long form interview. It went absolutely gangbusters. Tell me about how that all came about and your thoughts on the whole process.
Well, there's no doubt Pauline's got a bit of a thing for me. It's been embarrassing.
Please explain.
I've actually had some really, really big run-ins with her over the years, and we've butted heads. But at the end of the day, I mean, I remember I did this story for 60 Minutes on Lydia Thorpe, and Pauline sent me this message that I had to delete it. I mean, it was a big message.
Yeah, wow, okay.
Because she didn't like Lydia Thorpe, didn't think she should have a platform, and you know, and I thought that was it. But then Pauline's, you know, got a pretty thick skin, and I was in LA with Kesh, and we were talking about what we could do differently. And I thought, well, hang on, just to get out there, I'd love to do a live podcast because live is my thing, but also just to show people that, you know, that I am, you know, legitimately open, and, you know, we're going to have a frank conversation and you're going to see it all and it's going to be live, so no edits.
Yep.
And so I texted James Ashby, who's been with Pauline Hanson for, I don't know, 15 years maybe, and he's a really clever dude. And he just said yes straight away. He said when and where, and that's how it happened. And I think that it comes at a time, everyone goes, oh, that was great timing, you're lucky to get that. But it's actually something I've been working on for years. Yeah. So when I have a conversation with someone, it's not just, you know, off the bat. There will be conversations with people that I don't know. But when I know someone, there's years of communication, there's years of connection, and there's years of knowing each other a little bit more. So that's how that came about. And look, I've been blown away. The reaction's been really wonderful from people who have come to listen to me for the first time. I'm so honored, and it really is, you know, I've been really moved by it, to be honest with you, because I never thought that I might get people listening.
Yeah,
you know, as strange as that might sound, I have full respect for the medium and for people who have built audiences. And I've obviously got people who watch me, but they watch the Today Show or 60 Minutes and they watch 9. So you just don't know how many are going to come just to listen to you. Yeah. So I felt really vulnerable. I was shitting myself, really. And I thought, you know, if this doesn't work, I'm just going to commit to it and keep going. And I don't know how it's going to go down the track, but I just love the medium. I love a chat, and I love finding things out. So I'll just keep going no matter what happens. But thankfully so far, and we are a weekend, we'll see how it all unfolds.
Well, mate, hearing some of the numbers and knowing podcast numbers, they are absolutely gigantic numbers.
I just don't know, and I don't want to think about it. It's like it's a stressful thing for me to think, is it going okay? Because I'll be honest with you, I love it so much. I love talking with people so much that I just want to keep doing it no matter what. And I don't want any shitty results coming through from Kesh. I just don't want to. I don't want to get a call going, "Hey, ooh, that's bad." I don't want to think. I don't want to have to think about that. But I do care deeply for the audience and those who have sent messages and engaged, and that's what I want to be for people.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. It's a really good lesson for any young person striving. That even yourself, who's incredibly successful, essentially one of the biggest media personalities, had trepidation about doing media and putting yourself out there. So even if you're a young person also feeling that, it's not a unique feeling. A lot of people feel it too. You just got to kind of push through that.
Yeah, it's really important. And it's one thing that I would say, I mean, I did basically get started as soon as I could, but I was nervous about it because you just don't know if people are going to tune in for you. And it's like I said, I've been blown away by the response. I get, a little bit emotional about it because so much has gone into it and I've wanted it for so long, and to be able to connect with people in this way, in this long format. And I just sound really soppy and like just a complete non-man. So that's all I'll say about that.
You're wearing a footy jersey, so that just takes care of all that.
I don't want you to make me cry. I knew that would happen. Bugger you, Tanner.
Mate, with the podcast, can you say some big names that are coming up?
So I didn't want to set out, I'll be honest with you. I can call big names in. And that sounds like I sound like a complete wanker. But I don't want to set out like that because I don't think big names is achievable every week.
Okay.
I just don't think it is. And I think the podcast world doesn't rely on that. I mean, if you look at any day of the week, Joe Rogan, I mean, some people have become stars because of him. Yeah. But if you can have a conversation with someone who's doing something really interesting, then they are the star.
Yeah, okay.
And I really feel that my skills lie in being able to extract that from someone who may not necessarily be a polished media performer or a superstar.
What about big stories then? What's something you're excited about?
Well, I haven't finished yet. Of course, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. I think that they will definitely come, and there are people that we're working on, but I don't want that to be the set.
Okay.
I think that's a predictable thing.
Okay.
And I want to be able to bounce from things on a weekly basis that really truly interests me, not just the person.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. What about, is there any stories that you've heard, we don't say who it was, that you're just really excited to get out there, that you're just like, wow, that was a great chat?
Well, I just interviewed the creator of Bluey, Joe Brum, and he again, I asked him about this when I was on holidays. I mean, the way these things happen, we had to go to LA, right? Because we got approval to do things in November. We had the good people at Qantas and Airbnb allow us to go to LA, because I thought, where can we go? Everyone else in Australia is pissing off on a holiday.
Yep.
Where can we go that's going to be easy for us to get talent? And so I lined up a bunch of interviews in LA, and then strange things happened because it's such a podcast world over there. I was at a bar in Beverly Hills, the Beverly Hills Hotel, and this is a big wanker thing to say, but Al Pacino, who I did for 60 Minutes earlier in the year, was in there.
Oh, wow.
And I went up and I gave him a hug because he did remember me, because I did this shocking Robert De Niro impersonation. So Al Pacino says to me, "Yo, are you doing a podcast? It's great, man."
That's a great impersonation, by the way.
I'm not fucking coming on. It's the last thing I want to do, man. I want to do a fucking podcast with you in this shitty hotel. Anyway, so I said, "Okay, buddy, no worries. I need to get cranky." So we ended up going to. I went to the bar, and there was a guy in there who's the producer of Pulp Fiction, Inglourious Bastards.
No way.
And this guy's stories are unbelievable. And then at the end of the conversation, they're just in there.
Yeah.
And I said, "Would you mind coming on?" He said, "Yeah, where and when?" And so he came around. I just think that people over there, especially in that industry, are more open to coming on. So again, people won't know who he is, but they're great conversations about how he found the Christoph Waltz character, and what Tarantino's like to work with, and how he comes up with the ideas, how they all pad out. It's just fascinating. But also the Joe Brum story about Bluey, and this guy was in Brisbane, and he'd done animation for years, but then one day he just sat there and he's got this character in his head for 20 years, and he drew Bluey.
Oh, yeah.
And Bluey's like $1 billion from Brisbane to $1 billion show. It's they're kind of the stories that I really want to tell. Sometimes it takes a long time to get these people, as you would know.
Yeah.
I mean, it took you 2 hours to get me today. So are you available? Yeah. Hang on. When? Yeah. I've just got my kid, Harper. I'll be right over. She's got her iPad.
That's how much pull we have here at Bloke. We can just, give you a quick call. Can you come down?
No, well, and also you said that you give me some free merch, and I'm wearing it right now. I'll do anything for free merch.
Mate, don't say that on a podcast. You'll get about 1 billion boxes soon if you stay there.
I don't mind. By the way, this is lovely merch.
Thank you, Rob.
This is your latest one that you've just done for this season, and this is the Karl Stefanovic jersey.
Mate, well, you just let everyone know that. No one knew that. You've just that's an exclusive.
Yes.
Karl Stefanovic. No one knew that was the jersey you designed for this year.
Well, it is,
Yeah,
and that's
there you
why
go.
I'm wearing it. And I look forward. Where do the people out there who are listening get these from?
Bloke.shop.
Yeah.
Bloke.shop.
Of course. Do we have a Karl Stefanovic? Yeah, we've got one of those.
It's coming.
A merch shop. I mean, I don't know what I would do with myself,
Mate,
if I had a merch shop.
You've got some iconic sayings. Merchandise it. Put the iconic sayings on it. Little signature underneath. There you go.
Wow.
There you go.
Yes, brother.
Margins about, sell it for, I'll just say, the Battler, $49.95. It's a little bit, so you go $39, but go $49.95. You probably make about $30 on a t-shirt.
Get out! What you don't tell people that they won't. By the way, they don't care.
That's all that.
So this is $49.99.
No, not that. That's more expensive.
Oh,
so
no
a normal
doubt.
T-shirt.
Do you want me to sign it?
That one specifically, priceless, mate. Mate, we all know your love of sport. It's on. You obviously were over in Vegas last year. But you actually, I say that's actually insulting for me to say actually, but you played a bit of sport growing up, mate. What sport did you play growing up?
I played everything because I grew up in Brisbane and Cairns, and I think Queensland kids just grew up playing everything. But I was, reasonable at tennis and golf, swimming to survive up there. So many things in the water that can really mess with you. And cricket was the one that a bit of soccer because my dad's ethnic. And so I did a bit of that and was reasonable at that. But cricket was my game. I was an opening batsman, and I was fortunate enough to make the Queensland schoolboys team in year 12 out of Cairns, which was a really nice thing. And in that side, they had Andrew Simons.
Wow.
Who is amazing. We played against New South Wales. I remember it distinctly in Sydney. And Jimmy Ma took me out. Jimmy Ma's got a fabulous reputation as a drunk and just an all-around great guy. But he took me out the first night we got to Sydney. And we just got absolutely hammered at this bar and hit the pokies. And then the next day, New South Wales sent us into bat. And Jimmy got out for like 2. He was still slurring as he walked off. He said, "Hey, this is better than me." And Martin Love, who was another great, who played for Australia, he was in. And Martin got out after about 10 balls. He was 60 not out, and then he got out. And then I remember Andrew Simons came in, and for the first 5 balls, he hit sixes. Wow. And we were under the pump, but he hit sixes. And I said, Simo, you want to, quieten things down now? We're just knocking around. He goes, "No, mate, I'm going for it. I want to go to the pub tonight." He was a legend. It was such a sad loss for me when he passed away. He was such a great, pure hitter. And also he was a pure man, a really great guy. So, I was fortunate to do that. And then when I went to uni, I played, a bit of mainly second grade, but a bit of first grade. Played against Alan Border and Carl Rackerman and Matthew Hayden. I remember I played against Alan Border, and I was shitting myself. As AB, the greatest Australian cricket captain ever, and what he did with Australian cricket in the 80s, building it back up, was just extraordinary. And I loved him. And he was at square leg, and I knocked this ball down to fine leg, and he goes, "Son, come over here." And so I don't know. It's AB. It's in the middle of an over. And I'm thinking, I'm going to get tapped on the shoulder here. No, this is going to be one of my great moments. AB, he's going to say, "Mate, that was a beautiful shot." And he comes up to me and he goes, "Son, your bat's broken." And And I immediately called to the dressing room like a complete idiot. And I said, I'll have another bat. And they go, you don't have another bat. So he brings a bat out. They bring a bat out. I don't know whose it was. And the next ball I got run out. And it was just, but I love playing cricket and I'd love to still play today.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think you realize at some point, you know, and I became friends with Damien Martin years later. And Marto told me a terrific story about him not thinking that he was as elite as Ricky Ponting.
Yeah, okay.
Right? So Marto said they were all standing around. You know, there was Glenn McGrath, Ricky Ponting, himself and Matt Hayden. Matt Hayden said he scored 10,000, you know, first-class runs before he got to play for Australia. Glenn McGrath said that he came in late but started getting a lot of wickets. And Marto said that he, you know, I think he was WA Marto. And he'd scored 100 when he was 15 or 16 in WA in first grade. And so they thought they were pretty good. And then it came to Ricky Ponting and he said, I don't know, but all I know is between the ages of 12 and 16, I didn't get out.
Yeah.
So you know you're not elite. And it didn't matter. I started not enjoying being in the field so much.
Yeah.
I started to enjoy going clubbing and, you know, just poleaxing myself. And so showing up to cricket on a Saturday morning became less interesting to me. And that's at the same stage as that, my journalism stuff was kicking off. And I just thought that, you know, I really fell in love with journalism when I was at uni and just wanted to do that for the rest of my life.
I mean, after hearing how passionate you are about having yarns and getting to know people and just that good story rather than the actual, you know, the idea of a star or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that the deep journalist inside you that likes to kind of not investigate, but maybe uncover?
I would say that I've always been interested in people from a really early age. I remember my mum used to take me around this nursing home. She used to do all the old ducks' hair, and I'd always talk to them. And so I always had a great interest in people and making them laugh and making them feel good. Journalism, I think, was the craft that allowed me to do that for a living. So learning the ins and outs, the who, what, why, where, and how, and all those rules of journalism. How to, you know, I was always a good writer, but how to write for a paper and for radio and for TV was the practicalities of how to make it a living.
Okay.
So I love journalism and where it's taken me, and the stories that I've covered and the skills that I've picked up. I adore that. There are some elements of it that I find difficult now, but at the end of the day, it's given me everything, journalism. So for me moving forward now, in the back of my mind, there are always going to be how to structure things.
Okay.
It's just going to be a bit looser.
Yeah, okay.
You know, and so I don't have to focus on getting a headline. I don't want to do that. I know how to, I know what questions are going to do that.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do it just for the sake of it. I want it to be part of a conversation.
Yeah, okay. Do you think, how much has journalism changed since you got in the game?
Oh, a tremendous amount. I mean, I remember in Win TV in Rockhampton, we'd go out and get, 35 stories on a weekend and plug into a power pole, out in the, middle of outback Australia and feed a story out through a link. And
no way.
This is, I didn't even have a mobile phone. We had pages and faxes and, I'm not that old, but that's what we had at Win TV. Win TV was awesome. Win TV is still a great company, I reckon, for the number of young people who come through it. But now when you look at it, the 24-hour news cycle has changed so dramatically. I think there's a lot of pressure on journos to get a headline, to get clicks online. And I think that's to the detriment of journalism to an extent, but that's how it is. If I do an interview with a journo now, I know that the headline is not necessarily going to reflect the story.
Yeah, okay.
So I think that part of it for me is, I'm not going to, criticize it because it is the way it is, but that's a change that I don't necessarily, think is great long term. But good. Is
there any way back? Do you think though?
No,
or is it a race to the bottom?
Because that being said, there is great journalism out there.
Okay.
Look at Nick at 60 Minutes. Look at some of the stories that they've done. They've changed Australia. Good journalism changes things for the better.
Yeah.
And government absolutely has to have good journalism on its case. And the rest of it, I think there's still wonderful things. that it does. I love the profession still. It's just that I think it's adapting to a new world order.
Yeah, okay.
It's adapting to new ways of communication, and it's adapting to a public that absolutely knows now that it doesn't have to get their information from one source.
Yeah, okay.
Or, you know, a source that was relied upon in the past. There are multiple ways to get information now. And people at home are choosing that, are choosing their own way with their own trusted sources. And above everything else, I want to be a trusted source of information.
Yeah, okay.
You know?
Do you remember a story when you were younger where it was like, this is why I do journalism? Like,
Yeah.
this is the big one.
It varies,
Yeah, okay.
because I've done a lot of big news stories. Over the years, I've done all these terror attacks in Brussels and Paris and Nice, and I think when you do those big jobs, at first you think, God, it's terrible to say, but there's an element of you that's like, this is where you want to be. But as you get older, it's like when the Queen died and I was there, I found that for the first time, I just wanted to be there to see it. And it really came back to me that this is important for me to be here, to communicate it to Australia. I've always wanted to be overseas, or on big stories in Australia, making sure that people at home were getting the right information and connecting to whatever emotion was there. It's a great responsibility.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the Bondi terror attack for me, that was amongst the worst thing that I've ever covered. I was so shocked by it. And that was really difficult to cover. One, when I saw the images, I was like, that's got to be AI, man. That's got to be AI. That can't be real. It's in my own backyard. And Australians are just going about their business. This is the most heinous thing. And then the next day when we were there covering it, we had people arriving in shock, and there's all these different stages of grief, and they're right around us, and they were so amazing about us being there, because sometimes it doesn't quite go that way with the media, and rightly so. But this was one where we felt part of the community. So that's the biggest kind of story that I've done that had the most impact on me.
Yeah, okay.
And that will stay with me forever.
Yeah. Mate, I think just as an Australian, it just feels so foreign to what this country kind of represents. And when you get that message,
and one of the things that I hope comes out of it is that we have this return to Australian values. I don't know why it's gone a little bit off the rails, and maybe we're all too scared with the constant, work stuff and people saying you can't enjoy what this country is, or this country has been built on some great values, and I just want to make sure that we get back to that. And one of the jobs that I will have in podcast world, I think, is to reflect those ideas and to reflect those values in the people that I get on.
It's just hard to put into words. I remember we had a show the next day after it, and it's really just hard to fathom like what words can really express that feeling that I think most Australians felt when they saw those pictures, those images. It's just
this is Australia, and these guys have come from Western Sydney, and they're firing at people on the beach on a Sunday afternoon.
Crazy.
I mean, I couldn't comprehend it.
Yeah.
And the lifesavers, bro.
Oh, mate.
I mean, the lifesavers run in to where people have been shot. There are people covering other people, relatives laying on their kids to stop them being shot. And the lifesavers are on top of people, resuscitating them while they're still under fire. Now that is Australian courage. Now that is what this country is. Now they are the values that we cannot ever let slide. And they are the values that we need to every day celebrate.
Yeah. I've seen I think it's Ahmed that stopped the gunman.
What a weapon. I mean, how many conversations have you had with your brothers and your friends when you're having a few beers where you've gone, mate, honestly, would you do that? And I think that every part of us wants to think that they would.
Yeah,
but
think they would.
Yeah.
Do it.
But it's like, if you got the guy, that's fine. You know, I think I'd be okay once I'm on top of him. But to go up to him while he's still firing rounds.
Sneaking around cars to get to him.
No, I'm going in here, right? How many people out there would say, I'm going in here? Bro, you're not going to get away with this. I'm going to stop you.
Oh, and there's still another one firing from there. Then the elderly couple in the car that tried to stop it at the start.
It's shocking.
The cops that ran towards it.
It's shocking. I've never had a story that had so much impact on so many people close to me.
Yeah.
You know, my sister-in-law, you know, she lives up the road, and, you know, Anthony Minicello, I spent time with over the Christmas break. He was right there. You know, bullets whizzing away. Yeah. You know, and Minnie, you know, Minnie's an awesome guy. I did a Sydney to Hobart with Minnie.
Yeah.
And we pretty much single-handedly won it. Why are you laughing? No, Minnie's a legend. And so, you know, to see what he went through that day, you can see it written in people's faces, etched in their eyes, and it's in their hearts, and it's in their minds, and hard to get through.
Yeah, mate.
Did I tell you about the Sydney to Hobart with Minnie, though?
No, tell me about the Sydney to Hobart to Minnie.
No, it is an appalling thing to do, right? I love boats, and a couple of my friends have got really big boats.
Okay, okay, just a couple.
One of them in particular. You know, the big fella?
Yeah.
And it's a great big boat.
Yep.
But getting on a thing with sails, and I didn't do any prep, and we got on it, and David Gingell, who was the boss at Nine at the time, he just goes to me, mate, if you get in trouble out there on the high seas, he didn't give a shit about me going, by the way. I don't know. It was like, whatever, you want to go and sit in the Hobart. That'll be great publicity. It's a Channel 7 event, so off you go. So we went out, and he said, just hold on to Minnie and hold on to him tight.
Okay.
Because he's got the biggest heart.
Okay, the biggest heart, yeah.
And so that's what we did. We held on to each other for like 36 hours. We cuddled. We fell in love, actually. And we woke up in the bottom of the boat after being sick for 36 hours, and we'd won.
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah.
Mate, speaking of rugby league, you're a Broncos man.
Yeah.
Where did the love for, because you played cricket and played all these sports, where did the love for rugby league come from?
I remember playing rugby league as early as when I was 3 or 4 in Brizzy, on the outskirts of Brizzy. The Brisbane competition back then was huge. We didn't even really watch the Sydney competition, but I remember I had Parramatta playing cards with Peter Sterling on it. The Parramatta had this great side, back in the day. But Sterlo was the card to get, and we played cards, and I had this card that was covered in masking tape, and you'd throw it against the wall, and we'd win all these things. And but we had a terrific local competition. We had Wynnum Manly, Valleys. I mean, these sides, were stacked. Yeah. Full of great talent.
Wally Lewis, would Wally Lewis been?
Wally Lewis, yeah. I mean, I think he was at Valleys first, and then went to Wynnum Manly. And then Gene Miles, Gary Belcher. I mean, they had a raft of, and these guys were legends in Queensland. And then I went to my first state of origin at Lang Park back in the day, and Dad took us in. It took us like 2 hours to get there from the outskirts of Brizzy. And the hill there was the hill. Yeah. It was wild. People were just off their chops. They were smoking reefer and Winnie Blues. And so it was really no place for a kid. But as a 6-year-old, I thought it was Wonderland, absolute Wonderland. And so I remember Wally Lewis, Wally Lewis was the king of Queensland. He and Alan Border, it's hard to describe, because I think for a young Queenslander, they demonstrated that you could go and do something wonderful with your life outside of Queensland. Like you could go and travel, and you could be this absolute legend. You could climb out of wherever you were, and you could go and take it to the Blues. And no matter all these rich people from south of the border,
of course,
all the blue bloods. Yeah. You could take it to them, and spirit could win. Yeah. And that's something that was instilled. So people go, what's the heart of Queensland? And I know people in New South Wales get sick of it, and rightly so, but the true heart of it comes from that. We grow up and it means so much to us. I can't put my finger on it, but that's part of the reason, is that it just means a lot to us, because everyone's got shitty lives, and everyone has shitty things going on in their lives. And rugby league was an antidote every week. And you could actually do something. We could. What do you mean we can go and beat the Blues at Lang Park? Oh. I met Wally like years later.
Yeah.
And I just started at Channel 9 in Brisbane, and Wally came in the door. And I've gone, holy shit, that's Wally Lewis. I was typing a story and I just put my head down and I was like looking above and I watched him go right across. And I said, that's Wally Lewis. That's the king. And Lane Kelgart is a great correspondent for Nine back in the day, and he's a terrific friend. He goes, it's the king, mate. After a couple of months, he might even talk to you. But he did. But it's still to this day when I see Wally Lewis, like he's the biggest star in the world to me.
Yeah.
And I know there are other, wonderful, wonderful players, but for me, Wally Lewis, the king, and it doesn't get any better.
Mate, it's I've had a show with Cameron Smith for quite a few years on the radio, and watching grown men just turn into little boys around him, not you know what I'm saying? That inner boy comes out and I'm like, oh my God, like I just used to watch that guy as the best of the best kind of thing. So I can only imagine it's relatively similar to Wally Lewis.
They had an ad, right? A Forex ad. I'm sure you would have played it on the show before, but if you don't, try and dig it up.
Yeah.
But it was a Forex ad, and I think I still remember how it went. It was, here's to Wally Lewis for lacing on a butte. Sometimes he plays it rugged, sometimes he plays it cute. He slices through the back line like a Stradbroke Island shark. There's glue on all his fingers. He's the emperor of Lang Park. And when the Blues come up here to try and make a show, they go back scratching their heads saying, which way did he go?
That's great.
It's like a Forex ad.
That's you off the dome.
Boom. I think that's how it goes.
That is great.
But you had every kid from at the age of 5 to 17 at school singing the Forex song. I can feel the Forex coming on.
Oh, mate, what with Origin, do you think it's as good as the old days?
It's different. I mean, it was raw back then, but I think the skill level, the power, and the game's changed so much. I mean, you guys know that more than I do. But I look at it and wonder every year. And every single time something wondrous happens. Yeah. And I can't go to a game.
Oh, really?
It's impossible. Obviously, I could get really good tickets, but there's no way I can go to a game because I just have to sit there on my couch. I can have no one around me except my wife. I mean, she's just a rabid bogan Queensland, and she's spitting and cursing, and she's yelling at the ref, yelling at the players from New South Wales, and it's our little thing. Our little thing. We get together and we just go nuts by ourselves. But any kind of distractions, I don't want to talk to anyone else. Yeah, okay. It's like I lock into Origin and I do not lock out.
What do you think of that Game 3 last year? Incredible. Up against it, New South Wales should have won by 13 plus. It should have really been something big from New South Wales, and yet Queensland essentially played the perfect game.
Well, and I think there's a lot going on outside of it too, with Billy Slater, and Bill, it really hurt Billy, all that stuff that I helped propagate from Woodsy. I didn't know it was, but Billy, I'm so sorry, mate. No, but that's part of the Queensland spirit. If they're tuned in to their spirit, they can generally do anything.
Yeah, I'm proven over and over.
They have, and I don't think that's a perpetual thing. I don't think that's going to win them series every time, but mostly it will. But a New South Wales side is more than capable with the talent they have of beating Queensland. Yeah. It's just, you've got to be that 10% better, New South Wales, because you don't know when the thing's going to drop for Queensland. And if they don't show up, sometimes they don't. Yeah. And it's pretty obvious, like the first game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. But look what they did when they connected with the spirit. So the Queensland spirit's alive and well. But, who knows going into this year. Yep. But State of Origin, and again, back to the NRL, I thought it was the most extraordinary season. All through the season, stuff happened. And if you look at how all the teams are shaping up this year, and again, it's your guys' forehand, but I think it's going to get bigger and better and bigger and better. And I think it'll be bigger than the AFL again by a country mile. This sport's growing hard. Yeah. And I think if you look at the AFL, I think they've stagnated.
Okay.
I think that the NRL has got it together, and they're only going to get bigger and better. It's really exciting for them. Have you guys done Vegas?
Yes, did it last year. Going to go again this year.
I didn't see you.
No, I was.
In the clink.
I was very much just there for work, sir.
Yeah, well, so was I.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously. No, people say that. It was actually quite a busy work time.
It is. It's a lot.
And I caught up with JT one night. We just had a couple of beers. Jonathan Thirst, he's such a wonderful dude. And then I was doing the Today Show and a bit of the NRL stuff when it started. But I think it's a great concept.
Yeah.
Such a great concept.
I'd love to see after this deal's up, maybe pick a big city to go to. But I just wanted to ask you, because you've obviously been around the Broncos in the early 2000s when they were dominant.
Yeah.
Obviously it's easy for me to say this because they won the premiership, but I truly felt like I was watching an early 2000 Broncos side in that final series. How did you feel about the final series?
I thought it was a little different in that the team that we had across the board in the early 2000s was a really well-rounded team. And the Broncos is obviously a well-rounded team, but there were players who came in and out of that side in the last 3 games that made a big difference for the Broncos, and the Reece Walsh factor was unquestionable.
I've never seen anything like that.
No, so if you add that into the mix, and there were individual great players in the Broncos in the earlies, but I think that it's different in that extra thing is maybe a factor that sides get worried about. I don't know what's going to happen this year with them. Madge had them fit.
Yeah,
Madge has got them fit again. I mean, I'm hearing complaints every day on my phone from the Broncos players. I think Ben Hunt I saw on the TV the other day, and he looks 106 after pre-season. I'd surely just give the guy the time off. Surely.
And he even said, listen, after that pre-season, I might give it away at the end of the season.
Yeah,
mate, I've never seen anything like that from Reece Walsh. Like that was truly, I've never seen a last 6 games or whatever it was where he essentially, I wouldn't say won it on his back, but as close as you could say to won it on his back.
But there's other things too, like the Ben Hunt drop goal. And there are things that could have gone so different, but when you're on a roll like that, so I don't know, you may say that the Broncos will win 2 or 3. They've certainly got the cattle to do it, and they've got the Reece Walsh factor. But to have all of those things fall into place is super difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, it's climbing a mountain every season. And I do think that the other teams will hit back, and there's some really great talented teams who have come together and gone close. Who knows what Penrith will do? I mean, they've got such a great base of players.
Yeah.
And they're going to have new people coming through, and they're going to be fresh.
Yep.
They're going to want to get better, and they're going to want to hurt other teams. And the pressure's not going to be so big on them.
Yeah.
They had a lot to lose last year, and they came. Well, it was phenomenal how they came back.
Crazy.
I mean, halfway through the season, I whacked $20 on them at 16-1. So I was almost upset that the Broncos won.
When Reece threw the ball to Mariner and they scored in the corner there, and then Reynolds kicked it from the sideline.
Yeah.
Mate, I'd be remiss of asking you, but I've got to ask you. The famous Logies into presenting the next morning.
Yeah.
Can you just give us the insight into it? It's one of the most viral clips this country's ever seen.
Well, I have to get you to clarify, because I think for about 15 years there, that happened every year before TV got woke, before TV woke up. No one gave a shit, right? Back in the day, it was like, hey, everyone just got poleaxed and would just go to work.
Yep.
It wasn't a thing. But that night, I'd been out, and Lachlan Murdoch, who I was a particularly good friend, he's a great fella, Lachlan Murdoch. And he likes, the problem with Lachlan is, and I hope he's not going to get upset with me, but the problem with Lachlan Murdoch is this. He likes straight vodka. And I thought, all right.
Let's go.
I like straight vodka.
That's 2 blokes liking it's not a good idea.
So anyway, at 3 a.m, Lachlan goes to me, hey, Karl, it's 3 o'clock. You think you should go to bed? And I was like, is it 3? He goes, yeah, Karl, it's 3. You better go. He's like sober.
Yeah.
I'm like, how does he do? He's got this constitution of this animal. I don't even know. Anyway, so I got up, and he had to hold me up, and then I was going up the causeway of Crown.
Yep.
Crown's like a super hotel. I don't know if you know of it.
And
a
great
prospective sponsor.
I probably don't. I don't really stay in probably the same place
villas.
you were staying.
Oh no, you don't stay in the villas.
Not there yet. No.
Anyways, so I was walking from his villa to my villa, which is about 5 meters.
Okay.
And I went boof, boof, like a pinball going up this thing. And I got to my room and I went, oh mate. Looked at myself in the mirror and I was all like pasty and I just thought, God. So I did what I shouldn't have done. I should have had a shower and just had some waters, but I went straight to sleep for 36 minutes.
Okay.
So I woke up, it felt like I was completely and utterly fine. 36 minutes of sleep. And so I go downstairs, like, yeah, what's up, Australia? Woo! And then Lisa Wilkinson, she's like, she didn't want to be a part of it. She was like, and then Cam Williams, who was a terrific fellow, he was a sports guy at the time, he comes past me and he goes, Carlos, a few viewers have written in saying, mate, that you look like you're really off your chops. Just reel it in a bit. And I went, oh, and then I put the fear of God in me. So nothing happened for the rest of the day.
Yep.
And then I get a call from a former chief of staff at Nine, who's now the chief of staff at Today Tonight, John Chaffetti, and John goes, hey, Carlo, we're going to do an absolute number on you on Today Tonight.
Oh, no.
And I've gone, oh, shit. And so I thought, it'll just be like a third or fourth story, one of their funny ones. And Matt White was the presenter of Today Tonight. And they had a full, beautiful, big studio, and it's just like me, like the Logies controversy, and I was like, and then I hadn't seen any of the footage, right? And then the first thing that comes out of my mouth is, "Here's morning in Australia." I was like, oh no. Anyway, the funny thing is that Ginjal called me, and like he was a great boss, and he said, mate, don't do it again, but it's really funny. Don't do it again. It was really funny. And so anyway, I was lucky to survive. Hence why I'm going into a podcast.
No, you can rock up drunk whenever you want. Really.
I don't think you could do that now. I mean, it is a different world, and nor would I want to do it now, but at the time I was just a Queenslander and it was free piss. So you can't ignore free piss.
That's not really your fault if you think about it.
I wouldn't have thought so. No, just don't ever offer me free piss or vodka in Lachlan Murdoch's villa at Crown.
Oh, mate, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast, mate.
Pleasure.
And make sure the Karl Stefanovic Show, guys, give it a follow. Incredible stories coming up. Already Pauline Hanson's in the bank. So go and watch that one. Really do appreciate it, mate. Really do it. Thank you.
Thank you for all your help and love your show.
Thank you.
And I'll come back anytime for some free merch.
Thanks. Thanks, mate. Thank you.